Hello, I'm Jeff Allen Wolf, and I give my commentary on national and world news and politics. This is definitely a world gone mad, and it's episode number 100. I've reached the big 100. And if you have not heard my explanation of this milestone before, I will repeat it. In the podcast world, this is hard to reach 100 episodes. Let me give you the official explanation. Approximately only 5.54% of all podcasts currently available reach 100 episodes. A significant portion of podcasts do not continue beyond their initial few episodes. 90% don't make it past the third episode. And of those remaining, 90% will quit after 20 episodes. Reaching 100 episodes, therefore, puts a podcast within the top few percentage of those that have been created. So A World Gone Mad has achieved 100. And if you'd like to say hello, then email me. Tell me if you've been listening from the start or you just started recently. It would be nice to read some emails from you. ResistDonaldNow@gmail.com. ResistDonaldNow@gmail. Okay, so I wanted to do something a little different with this 100th episode, and I wanted to give a State of the Union on where we stand in this country. So first, for those of you who are new, who am I? Also, where do I stand on the issues? Well, I've been doing this for a while now, listeners. I'm not an amateur. I've been broadcasting 40 plus years in the television and radio world. I did terrestrial radio in the number 12 market in Florida. I've been doing A World Gone Mad now for 16 months. Okay, so enough about that. Where do I stand on the issues? This episode's going to be approximately 23 or 24 minutes, so stay with me. I've got a lot to cover. Let me go over what I feel are the most important issues right now in our country in no particular order. I just listed them on a piece of paper earlier today as they came across my mind. And again, neither one of these issues are more important than the others. Each one may affect you, the listener, differently, or it may not affect you at all. I'm sure after I get done talking about them, you'll say, hey, Jeff, what about this issue? Or, hey, Jeff, what about that issue? Good. That's when you could write me an email and tell me what I left out and why it's important to you. That's where I get to hear from you and your thoughts. Okay, let's go. Women's rights. I am so sick and tired of what half our country has done against women. First of all, equal pay for equal work. I am so fed up with this not being the norm. Pay people with the same skill set for the same job what other people with the same skill set with that job do. I don't care whether you're a man or woman. It's fucking common sense. And I wish for the most part the Republicans would use some of that fucking common sense. Secondly, women in the military. Have you noticed, and I say this sarcastically, what Donald the Delusional One has done in his first 100 days? That women with high-ranking commands are being fired? That's a bunch of garbage. And women, again, are being systematically torn down. I realize I could go on with each of these issues. This is my overview right off the bat with women's rights. And as far as a woman becoming president, a woman's ability to lead, wake the hell up, America, Margaret Thatcher, Golda Meir, etc. When a qualified woman runs for the office of president, the men who are insecure better get over it and realize the guys have screwed things up for hundreds of years. It's time for the women to take charge. Let me talk about gun control, school shootings, gun violence. When will it stop? When will the Republicans, for the most part, grow some balls and realize that enough is enough of having kids blown away and teachers as well in school shootings? When will gun laws, responsible gun laws, take place? And let's stop kissing ass to the NRA. I have zero concern about waiting for a gun permit for a new gun I purchase. I have no fears of them doing a background check on me before I can purchase a gun. I have zero concern about registering my guns. There is not one Democrat that I know of that said they wanted to take guns away from people. That's bullshit, and that talking point from the Republicans has to stop. We have too many lunatics who shouldn't have a weapon running around and blowing the hell out of our kids at schools. And you know, when will it stop? When Republican senators or congressmen and women have one of their children killed in one of these school shootings. That's when they may wake up. Look, people need to wake the fuck up and decide to establish real gun laws. But who am I kidding? They talk about it. We have another shooting about 1 or 2 months later, and it's the same crap over and over again from the Republican leadership. Do something substantial. A lot of issues to cover. Next for me, global warming, solar power. Look, Natasha and I live in Arizona. There's no such thing as global warming. Forgive me while I laugh my freaking ass off. The idiotic comments with no scientific basis made by these jackoffs who have no clue what's happening in the real world of science state that global warming is a hoax. Seriously? We should have done something about global warming 40 years ago. Temperatures are getting so high that soon it will be uninhabitable to live here in Arizona and other places like Nevada, etc., where the heat is also just going to rise. Water availability is also becoming a major problem. Flooding from oceans, rising faster than the scientists predicted, is causing major or will cause major damage in 20 to 50 years. Yet Donny Boy removes us from the Paris Climate Agreement. Lunacy, stupidity, not giving a shit about our planet, and totally ignoring the obvious signs that have happened for years. Global warming is real. Yes, solar energy is important, and yes, fusion and nuclear energy have to come into this equation. But global warming, make no mistake, is 100% real. And if you, the listener, don't feel that, then you need to tell me your views and offer me evidence on why you think I'm wrong. Here's another fun one. Voting rights and election integrity. Don't get me started on this. We have systematically, or rather, the Republicans have systematically destroyed the rights of people to vote. Mail-in ballots are called into question. Redistricting areas so less black people have a voice or other people don't get to vote. All these stupid, silly, bullshit laws that the Republicans are doing to take away our rights to vote. It's enough to make you cry. Here's what I want to see happen. Number one, a national holiday where everyone has the day off to vote and you don't get your paycheck or your Social Security check for that week until you vote in an election and you prove that you voted. Then you receive your paycheck or Social Security check. Or if you don't vote, your driver's license is taken away or suspended until you vote. Ideas like this will give people time to vote and make it mandatory for everyone to give their voice in an important election. Next, I want all the voting machines in all states removed and new machines installed because I don't trust Elon Musk. He may have compromised our voting system. Now, if nothing was done, great, but let's refresh the voting machines correctly from a bipartisan company and make sure the integrity of our elections becomes what they should be. Next, and pardon my language, get rid of the fucking Electoral College. It is archaic. It is stupid. Popular vote wins. Mary gets more votes than Tom? Guess what? Mary's elected to whatever office she was running for. No more Electoral College bullshit. But the Republicans don't want that because they will never win a presidential election again if the Electoral College was gone. Here's one close to everyone's heart. Healthcare, affordability. Healthcare is a joke in our country, And now the Republicans are going after Medicaid and Medicare. They have no boundaries in what they're willing to destroy. We need to expand coverage, not shrink it. And I know some of you may need hearing coverage, and I understand that. But to me, the number one most important thing to add to healthcare expansion is dental coverage. Millions of Americans need help with dental. It amazes me that we are covered for basics of dental, but not for more important things like implants. $40,000 for implants is a joke. We're covered for basic things with eyesight, but not for more important things like cataract surgery, higher end cataract surgery. Republicans need to start taking care of the citizens in our country and stop worrying about their wallets and bank accounts. You want to be liked, Donald? Then start showing some friggin' compassion for the people who live here. Let's talk about abortion. For the record, I'm against abortion. Hear me out. This is a volatile firestorm of an issue. So even though I'm against abortion, it is not the right of the government to decide what a woman wants to do with her own body. It's not the decision of local government, nor the decision of the federal government, or even for a doctor to decide. The doctor can advise the woman, and that's all. It's still up to the woman to make a decision to have or not have an abortion. It's similar to my belief that I could be against a certain war somewhere in the world. That doesn't mean I'm against the troops. I can have it both ways. So I'm against abortion, but the woman gets to decide. No one else, people. Hands off. Immigration. Immigration is a mess. And for those that state everything is wonderful on the border, they are kidding themselves. For those other people, and I'm talking about the Republicans who say Biden screwed everything up, and Democrats are for open borders, I call bullshit. Except for Native Americans who were born here. All of us. That's right, Republican Senator, you know who you are, or Republican Congressman or woman, you know who you are. All of us come from immigrants in our family history. Our family tree are mostly immigrants. Don't you dare forget that, Donald. I'm looking at you directly in your eyes. Look, do some people need to be removed from our country? Absolutely. But are the people in charge now, are these the ones we want to decide who to deport? Absolutely not. This is a roundup. This is a collection of so-called undesirable people, and they don't want them here in our country. Does this sound familiar to you people? The person who did this before, way back, his name begins with the letter H. You know, that guy in Germany. And no, I'm not making ridiculous connections. Randomly and massively collecting people with no thorough investigations and deporting them is plain criminal. Getting to a volatile one that's currently in the news on a daily basis. Russia, Ukraine. Fact, Russia invaded Ukraine. Fact, Russia wants all of Ukraine. Fact, Putin wants Zelensky dead. Fact, Donald Trump loves Putin. Birds of a feather. A permanent ceasefire, even a temporary ceasefire, is an illusion. Russia needs to be stopped with the Ukraine war because of the potential for Russia to continue further into Europe. Military experts see this, and intelligent people understand this. The reality is Ukraine needs air support and a lot more weapons and money to turn the tide against Russia. A further reality is that the United States cannot give everything that Ukraine needs. If we did, this conflict would grow tenfold. And a further statement of fact, Donald Trump is in over his head. He was never intelligent enough or had the background, even with the people around him, to have the ability to de-escalate conflicts like this. Stop Russia soon. Stop Russia now. Oh, the price of those eggs. Yep, I'm talking about the economy next. The economy is in a wobbly state right now because of Trump's tariffs. Warren Buffett stated that imposing tariffs on other countries is like declaring war. Tariffs don't work. We, the citizens, wind up paying for it with higher prices of goods. This country needs fiscally sane and intelligent people to help our economy get stronger. Now, with a potential recession looming, even though China and the United States just potentially signed a trade agreement today, now is the time for you, the listener, to gather supplies. Water, canned goods, paper goods, pet foods, etc. Natasha and I are actively revisiting our list in the last few days and gathering items from the stores. This is not a doomsday scenario on our part. This is not us with ridiculous hoarding. This is being smart and prepared. I suggest you, the listener, do the same if you can financially. Even gathering a few days' supplies will help you if the shit hits the fan because of Donald's tariffs. So all of these problems, all of these issues are in the hands of Trump and the Republicans. Donald, the delusional one, and the Republicans who are genuflecting in front of Trump are a huge danger to America and the world right now. The Republicans have a bunch of lunatics running the asylum. Trump keeps putting people in place who have no background whatsoever to be in charge of all the various departments. They were let loose to do massive layoffs of federal workers. They were given the ability of accessing our personal information. The power to dismantle whole departments is a blatant disregard for our country and the rights of our citizens. I hope, and I'm sure a lot of you, if not all of you, agree that we need to get these people out of office. And the midterms are the first chance we'll have. But there's question on whether the midterms will happen the way we would like them to, or that there will even be a vote to allow us to elect people at the midterms. These fringe particles of DNA that don't do anything for the organism called America need to be removed from the equation, legally, peacefully, and through the rule of law. But they need to go. Until this happens, this country is in dangerous hands under Trump and his minions. Which now leads me, and finally, to our Democratic leadership. Look, I'm a Democrat, and I'm a progressive Democrat. I'm sure not everyone will agree with my following viewpoints. I feel our Democratic leadership, for the most part, stinks. We are sorely lacking with true, visionary leaders, people who will reinvigorate and re-energize our country to reach the vision that is there for us to be at the highest peak ever in the history of America. The people I've supported in the past, like Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, just to name a few, these are people who wanted to make a difference. I will never vote for a Republican, although I admired Teddy Roosevelt and what he did for the establishment of the national park system. I admired Lincoln and for what he had to deal with. Having said that, I don't see any Democratic leaders that move the needle for me. And for the record, I wasn't against Kamala Harris, but she was the wrong choice to go against Donald Trump. Don't shoot me. I'm offering you my honest opinion. Hear me out. She had to be the one running, because if we bypassed her, it would have looked bad. Joe Biden, a lot of you don't agree, needed to step down earlier to give anyone running against Trump a chance for a long campaign to become president. Josh Shapiro, intriguing. J.B. Pritzker, intriguing. Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, all interesting, but all incomplete as leaders. I don't know what the answer is, Wolfpack listeners, but we are in a world of hurt in our country. We need a true, inspiring, uplifting, visionary to expand our country to an incredible height that it has never seen before. Maybe you, the listener, have some suggestions who you'd vote for and why, and you think I'm wrong. Then share with me your viewpoints. Look, I'm sure there are a dozen more issues that are happening in America that I neglected in this episode to mention, not because I don't think they're important, but there's only so much time in a 20-minute or less podcast episode. I'm not an expert in all these issues, and I don't play one on TV, as they say, but I'm like you, a citizen of America. I'm someone like you who wants our country to be healed. I want us to understand the diversity in our country and embrace it. We need to purge the hatred from these groups of people on the other side. We need to get past this broken government that we've had for decades. We need to be excited about our country. That's why I hate the phrase, "Make America great again." I think it's a bullshit phrase. It doesn't mean I don't want to make America great, but they, the other side, use that slogan as a mask to hide their bigotry and economic lust of the people who embrace that phrase. From the movie with Jack Lemmon and James Garner called My Fellow Americans, ladies and gentlemen, the Republicans are just one big facade. There's nothing wrong with our country that 1 million bandages, a lot of disinfectant, and tens of thousands of bottles of hydrogen peroxide can't cure. And yes, there is an enemy within. Trump says this repeatedly, but it ain't us, to kill the King's English. It's them. They're the enemies against freedom. They're the people who hate anyone who's not white or who is from another country, or women, or the middle class, or the lower class. Now is not the time to hide. I've said it before. I'm going to say it until I'm blue in the face. Stop texting me and saying you don't listen to my podcast because this is just too much for you to handle right now. That's a cop-out. And I understand it can be overwhelming. I really get it. But you need to stay connected. You need to be engaged in what's happening to us and our country. You don't need to do it on an hourly basis, everyone, and do it every day of the week. But don't hide. Don't run. Don't sit in the corner and give up. I need each and every one of you to stop scrolling hour upon hour each day to find someone to pick a fight with from the Republican side. I need you to stop trying to find the funniest or most sarcastic memes to share with others. Those things that a lot of you do are time-consuming and frankly a waste of your time and energy. Engage with others. Have meaningful conversations, not bullshit discussions. Not the same shit that everyone and his brother are discussing. Wake up, everyone. Concentrate on your health. Concentrate on those close to you. Make a difference in your day, your week, your month, and your year. Look, I've been doing this for over 16 months. I have a core group of people that listen, and once in a blue moon, one of them sends me an email. 100th episode, everyone. This one. And if you're not going to use my email now, you never will. I'm requesting of you, the listener, for you to show some courtesy towards me by giving me your thoughts about today's episode. There's a lot here to discuss. I'm not saying I'm right on everything, but your silence and apathy is not needed right now for me personally. I need your responses and thoughts. ResistDonaldNow@gmail.com. ResistDonaldNow. 833-399-9653. That's the toll-free 24 hours a day, 7 days a week voicemail box that would be nice for some of you to use as well. I need to regroup from my 101st episode and on for the rest of the year and figure out the direction I'm going to go with this podcast. And whether I have one person saying hello or hundreds, I need to press on. I say this with all humbleness. I hope you believe me. I put a lot of work into this podcast 3 times a week and money. And like I said before, I don't do this to earn money. I certainly didn't do this for my health. If anything, it takes a toll on my health each week. The one thing that makes a difference to me, and that helps, is when one of you actually gives me a comment through email or voice message or text. It makes a huge difference, and you have no clue how important that is to me. So please email me and contact me. Facebook is basically dead. You need to recognize that and need to leave from a social media group that doesn't believe in freedom of speech. The more you stay on Facebook, the more you encourage them and support them. Please give serious consideration to what I'm saying. I'm Jeff Allen Wolf. I do a podcast called The World Gone Mad, and this country, and the reason why I named my podcast that name is because it is a world gone mad. 100th episode, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back again in 2 days, and being repetitive for the millionth time, without your comments, without your feedback, without your thoughts. I'm sitting in a room talking to myself, and I'm tired of doing that. It's up to you, the listener, now. You have the most receptive podcast host out there that actually engages with his listeners, unlike other podcast hosts. Please take advantage of that. Stay hopeful.